Hello and welcome to day 56 in this quest for a 2000 rating on chess.com. So let's begin here, find an opponent, and see how it goes. Alright, so we have the white pieces. We'll start with e4 and see how they respond. Alright. Another one of these. I haven't seen hardly any of the Pirc defense. And now we have another one right away. All right, well, we'll take control of the center. And so now they're attacking. Play knight to c3. All right, so they bring this knight up here. I mean, I guess that could fortify a push of this pawn, or this one. Should we go ahead and play this f4 move? I think I'm going to go ahead and do that first, and then move my knight up. All right. So now, I guess it's best to capture towards the center. So we'll go ahead and do that. And now, do we push the pawn? Well, we don't want to do that because then we'll be left with the isolated pawn. Maybe we don't have a choice with that now. They kind of really opened things up. All right, well, I guess I'll just go ahead and capture. If he recaptures, then we can pick off his queen. But I don't know, we have this isolated pawn, which I'm not liking. So, I don't know, we'll go ahead and do that, keep him from castling. And now, let's see. Guess we should attack his knight. So we can go ahead and do that. We'll just attack his knight. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. If he captures, then we capture towards the center. We don't have that isolated pawn anymore, but then this one becomes isolated. So, okay, so he just develops there. Guess we could get ready to castle. Let's see. Well, do we really want to? No, he's got 3 pieces developed. And we do not. We only have 2. So I could go for the pin here maybe. Then get ready to castle. All right, maybe I'll castle queenside. And let's see, what can we do? There is a threat of him going here. So, it might become hard to guard this pawn, though. All right. Well, Do we double, or not double, we should develop here. Might as well just go ahead and do that. And at worst, if he attacks us, we can just pick this off, doubling his pawns, and then he has a weakness. And then we can castle queenside here. All right, interesting. I guess he didn't want that knight to jump forward. Okay. Well now. Guess we'll go ahead and castle queenside. All right, let's see what he does now. And we have this threat of picking this off, because this picking his knight off, because this is pinned to his king now. So that's a little advantage. All right, he didn't notice that. So we can just pick his knight off now. So let's go ahead, capture his knight. All right, so he made a mistake. We're up a piece now, but we have this weakness of this isolated pawn. Okay. Interesting. You know, maybe we should have captured that first. I don't know. I guess we'll look at it in the game review. Okay. Well, now we should just trade off material. That's probably our best bet. Okay, this knight can't move. So now, what do we do? Just develop our other bishop and attack his bishop? Well, no, because our knight is under attack, so we have to do something about that. So, I don't know. I say we just retreat. Well, I don't know. Maybe we want to pick this off first and then retreat, because his knight is threatening to jump down here, fork our rooks. What can we do about that? All right. I guess I'll give him the bishop pair. And I'll just go ahead and do that. Then I can retreat my knight back. And at least he has doubled his pawns here. Okay, so now he's threatening to come forward here. So what should we do? We should attack his bishop, and then well, should we just go ahead and attack his knight here? Or not his knight, excuse me. Bring our knight up and attack his king. You know, we'll go after this pawn. We'll just go ahead and do that. see what he does here. All right, well, that gets rid of our isolated pawn. So that's good. Now we can push this pawn forward. Okay. Well, should we go ahead and jump to here? He could try and pin us here. All right. Oh, wait, he can't pin us. Sorry. I was thinking he had the light squared bishop. All right, I better focus here. Okay, we don't have to worry about that. So, we just push this forward. Or should we just immediately move our knight up here? All right, let's limit the scope of his bishop. We'll go ahead and do that. Limit the scope of his bishop. Then we can jump our knight over here. Threaten to fork these two pieces. Okay, so he's doing that immediately. All right, well. Let's see. Well, we might as well just do that. Go ahead and bring that up to fortify this pawn, get our pawn majority moving. We need to develop this bishop, though. And where would be best to put that? All right, well, now we can just move up, I guess. Might as well do that. We'll just move there. All right. Well, what now? What now? We'll just go there, threaten to fork his pieces with our knight on f5 here. All right, what now? What now? Okay. And we could attack this rook. You know, where's his rook going? Well, he maybe wanted to, well, he wouldn't want to trade off. So I don't know what he's doing with his pieces are a little uncoordinated here, maybe. But we have this threat of knight to f5 to fork his king and his bishop. So, you know, we're ahead in material. We want to trade off pieces and avoid pawn trades because then we can use the extra pawns in the end game to try and promote and use our extra piece, you know, whatever. If we traded bishops, you know, we'd have an extra knight. You know, and if we traded all the pieces off, we'd use our one extra piece that they don't have to help promote our pawns. So when you're behind in material, you want to trade off, you know, all the pawns if you can, because then my one extra piece, if everything else was gone, wouldn't be able to. Okay, so he didn't even notice that. Well, now we can go ahead and just fork and take his bishop now. So I guess they just made another mistake here. Oh, they resigned. All right, well, let's go look at the game review. Okay, we'll do a game review and computer analysis here and see what we could have done better. All right, so game review time. Oh, okay, I'm happy with that. Anytime I can get up in the 90s, I'm satisfied with that. So I played at 90.7. Oh man, no inaccuracies, no mistakes, no misses or blunders. No brilliant or great moves, but we had 6 of the best moves versus their 5, 7 excellent versus their 4. We both had 3 good moves and 4 book moves. Okay, so it says, well done pouncing on your opponent's mistakes. Okay, I'm gonna have to check this out. I was a little unfamiliar with this, the way they played this. Maybe it's a standard. I mean, here it says the last book move was e5, so maybe I didn't play it right. I don't know, maybe I should have just developed a knight here. But anyway, we'll look at this in the analysis. It says I should have captured the way I did, it looks like. All right, you captured a free knight. And now it's just blasting through these moves, and this is where it ended. So it looked like I played at a 2050 level versus their 1650, 99.1 in the opening versus their 100%. So, but we only did like what, 4 book moves, so that's not saying too much. Middle game accuracy 87 versus their 36.8. Ooh. Okay, so it says you really outplayed your opponent in that one. Both of you played an amazing opening and you dominated in the middle game. All right, let's go back to the beginning and look at the analysis here. I guess this will be a short video since we the game ended what, after 20 moves. Okay, so e4 and d6, the Pirc defense. So now I just take control of the center because they're not immediately fighting for the center. So they play knight to f6, attacking the strong e pawn. So we defend with knight to c3, and now knight at b to d7. So I'm going to have to do a little studying on this opening. Oh, this is actually called the lion defense. I've heard of that defense. I just haven't looked at it in a while. So, yeah, I'm a little rusty on this lion defense. Okay, so now we played f4, the lion defense anti-Philidor variation. So I guess that tries to stop them from playing e5 next, or not stop them, but if they play that, you're able to break things open a little bit. All right, so they played e5, and here it says the best thing to do is to just play knight to f3 and ignore what they're doing in the center. Because if you play knight to f3, if they capture here, your knight captures. If they capture the f pawn, which they probably would not, because that would just help you develop your bishop. So it looks like, well, now it's saying bishop to e3. It likes that better. I don't know about that. Bishop to e3. Well, okay. You can't be harassed immediately by this knight because this knight up here is blocking the bishop, which would have protected a knight to g4 move, attacking your bishop if you move here. So that's what it wants there, is knight to e3. So what did I play? F takes e5. So I played this, and now it's saying knight to f3. So let's go back here. So that probably would have been a better move, just knight to f3. If they capture, I just go ahead and recapture. Anyway, something I'll have to take a look at. I'm not going to dig too deep into this opening here. So in the game, what did we have? We had f captures towards the center. They recapture with the pawn. So now the best move is to capture that pawn, which is what we did. So they recapture, and now queen captures is best, putting white slightly ahead because now they can't castle. So they capture, and now knight to f3. Well, it said that was best, but now it's saying bishop to g5, the immediate pin on the knight. It likes that better. So wait, let's go back. So it recommends immediately pinning. Well, here it says it doesn't give either one of those. All right, so anyway, we moved here. Now the computer's saying to pin the knight, but they could just break that pin. Yeah, if we played bishop to g5 before this knight to f3 move, then they could just break the pin with the bishop. But then we could go up here, knight to d5, and attack, and they would... yeah, I guess that's possible. All right. Well, in the game, we brought our knight up. They just continued development here, protecting. All right, so now we go ahead and pin, but now they don't like that. So they play this, a6, an inaccuracy. All right, what should they have played? Oh, okay. Computer likes this move, keeping black ahead. Although now it's saying white is ahead. But this kind of keeps the knight out and gives your bishop room to retreat back to here possibly. So now, see, bishop to e2 is what they recommend. Just developing the bishop, kind of covering the squares where the knight may go. Now it just says king to c7. That's interesting. Well, you can't castle anyway, so that makes sense, I guess. All right, well, in the game, they played a6 here. And now we had castling on queen side, but it says we should have jumped up here to d5, putting pressure on this knight. So I guess we could take a look at that. What did it say? Knight to d5. So if we did that, knight to d5, now it's saying that's best, they would attack our bishop. This is interesting stuff. So they should attack here. Now it's saying bishop to h4. Or just capturing, either with our knight or our bishop. I mean, I guess if we captured here, let's see. A lot of stuff going on here. So, man, this bishop to h4, though, retreating back, I don't know about that. Bishop to h4, then they could capture here. I would think they could just chase us back here. Oh, but then we would put pressure on this. They could ignore that and just capture. So just a lot going on here. They even recommend this. Capture. And you're threatening a fork here. So the best thing to do is to recapture. And then now you can take this. They recommend doubling your pawns, but you keep your bishop pair and you're attacking here. So now we would just go ahead and play that, with a discovered attack threat. Okay, back to the game. We castled like this, and now we have a threat build up. After we castled queenside, our rook is lined up on the king, pinning this bishop, which can't protect the knight anymore, but my opponent didn't notice that. So, what did they play? They played bishop to e6, which was a blunder. So the best thing to do would be king to e8. You break this pin on the knight, you break the pin on, or get rid of this pin on the bishop. So now the recommended move looks like is just bishop to e2. And then they would go ahead and either take our knight. Well, now the computer's saying we should have captured here and broke their pawns up. Which is probably what I would have done to give them a weakness. But now it's saying they would have just developed here. Attacking this, I guess. And then we could play knight to d4, attacking that bishop. And white would be slightly ahead. Okay, so in the game, let's go back a little bit. After we pin their knight, they go ahead and play this to keep our knight away from attacking their bishop. So then we play this, and we're attacking their knight, which is the bishop is pinned to the king, and they don't notice that, so they blunder here. And then the best thing to do is just to capture this piece, and now we're ahead by a whole knight here. So their best move is king to c8. It looks like getting out of this pin. What do? They come in this way, and our best move now is knight to c4, attacking this bishop. Okay, but we didn't play that, I don't think. We just captured over here. I thought, well, I'll just trade some material, but it probably would have been wiser to keep the bishop pair. So let's take a look at this move. So if we play that, we're attacking their bishop. Now it's saying to counterattack our bishop. So here, looks like the best thing to do is to either capture this bishop or capture with check over here. And maybe I would do that because either way we get this bishop of theirs. Now here it says the best move is to double their pawns up because if the king would have captured, well, then we pick this bishop up, they capture with the pawn, and then we capture a pawn. So now it says to just go ahead and get rid of their bishop pair, and that they should, well, they have to capture this way. And then we have rook to what? Rook to d4? Or bishop to e2, which I'd probably play that, bishop to e2, to get control, to keep this bishop from attacking my rook possibly, although I could still block with my bishop, but I'd probably activate my bishop with that bishop to e2 move. All right, and we're threatening this attack here. And it's saying that that's what we should have done, that we should have just gone ahead, jumped up here, attacking. If the king retreats, we pick this pawn off. So their best move is to go ahead and do that. And now, instead of capturing with the pawn, which is probably what I would have done, it said it's better to do that. Now it stops their pawns from moving, like all of these, all three of these pawns. Well, no, this one can still move, I guess. But anyway, before I dig too deep, let's just finish this out and conclude the rest of this analysis. All right. So, if we go back a little bit. Okay, so we castled queenside, pinning their bishop. They don't notice that and they blunder here, so we capture the knight. So we're ahead of knight. They move their king up. So now we just start trading material off, but it would have been better to keep the bishop pair and instead attack with this knight down here to c4. But in the game we captured. They double their pawns attacking our knight, and we go back this way. Now it does like that better instead of retreating back here because now the bishop could have just gone here. And anyway, they move here to g8, lining up on this pawn. So what do we do here? We jump this knight up, checking the king. If the king retreats, we grab this pawn here. So they give up their pawn, or excuse me, their bishop. They give up their bishop pair, give up their bishop for our knight, and we capture this way. And once again, it looks like it would have been better to just capture with the rook, according to the computer. So let's see how much of a difference that made. Not too much. But I wanted to get rid of my isolated pawn because now I could try and jump up here, protect that pawn. Maybe they should go here. But, I mean, I guess we could go here and then here. Anyway, they line up on our unprotected pawn. And so we go ahead first and limit the scope of their bishop. But it's saying we should have immediately gone here with the knight, and I was wondering about that in the game. So let's see. Well, now the computer's a little confused. It says knight to h4 is the second best move, but knight to h4 threatens to jump in here and fork the king and the bishop here. So anyway, we move up here to prevent this bishop, kind of limit the bishop so it can't move here and attack us or check us. So instead he comes around this way, threatening to check. So now we just fortify our pawn in the center. And this is quite interesting. It says we should have ignored that pawn, moved over here, attacking this pawn. All right, well, they check us, which now doesn't make much of a difference. We jump up here, although the computer wanted us to go into the corner there, which I don't know if I like that. So we go here, or excuse me, the opponent jumps up here attacking this pawn, although it's protected by the bishop right now. So maybe he was trying to keep my knight from jumping into the center here. So we just send the knight in the other direction. And now it's saying, oh, did we miss a pin here? Maybe. Let's take a look at that. Oh, we missed a little pin. I guess I was so focused on where I wanted to place my knight that I missed this rook to e1 move. All right, rook to e1, so a missed opportunity there. The best move is king to f8 to just give that bishop up. Or this is what I would have thought they would have played. You know, you protect it. But now we have what? That doesn't work anyway, because we can just play that and attack. So then, oh man, yeah, they are just in trouble here. I mean, what do you do now? What do you do now? Computer says just run. Just take your king and run to the king side over here. But then if you do that, you just pick off the rook. Man. So you got that. Then, of course, we're going to take the rook. You know, the better move would have been to retreat the rook, probably. Then bishop to c5. Man, yeah, then you're just ahead so much material. All right, well, it looks like I overlooked that pin. So I got to make sure I keep an eye out for that. You know, especially when the king is in the open. I had a viewer mention that I need to look for mistakes by the opponent, you know, better board vision, and try and you know, take advantage of their blunders and mistakes. So definitely should have played rook to e1 there. Let me go back. So rook to e1. So here, pinning this bishop to the king. Now it's saying c6. That, you know, this bishop's just a goner. Yeah, this is crazy. So c6 would have been best, trying to get rid of some pawns in the center. All right, well, in the game, instead, I run over here. And what could they have done here? Well, now the best move is bishop to b6 to get that bishop out of there, back it away. Or what? Rook takes h4. It's even recommending that, which would, you know, capture your knight, break your pawns, well, double your pawns up here on the h file. You know, and then maybe you could try and march one of these passed pawns down. Okay, in the game, we had this move. So it looks like, once again, I missed the pin here. Rook to e1 is the best move, but what do I play? I go for the fork instead. And it says that's second best. You know, you still gain a piece here. But rook to e1, I just overlooked that. So I got to watch out. Maybe that's a little pattern that's developing. I'm overlooking rook moves. I have to take a better look at my rook moves in the game. So my opponent resigned here. The computer says the game may have continued with the king moving up here. We just pick off the bishop. Now they attack. We just retreat back. Although here it's saying that we should have just protected that knight with the rook instead. So they jump forward here with c5. The king can retreat back, although it likes this attack better, to connect our rooks. Rook just moves up here. We develop our bishop, connect our rooks. But anyway, at this point, white is just ahead by a knight and a bishop. And that'd be enough to just continue on and win with that much material. All right, well, I better wrap this up. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions or any requests for material you would like to see in future videos, because I do other learning and teaching and lessons in other videos instead of just playing this quest for 2000. I do have a chess beginner to winner series and then some other random interesting videos. All right, well, thank you for watching and have a super chess day.